Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Today on Milanese Math, we're going to be talking about how to multiply whole numbers, and we're going to do this without using a calculator. So if you want to follow along with the worksheet that we'll be using, you can find that at the first link in the description below. So the first thing we want to get is a few definitions. First of all, product, that is the answer to a multiplication question. So when they're talking about what is the product, they mean what's the answer to this multiplication question. Okay, two things that you just need to memorize as a math student is what happens when you multiply by 0 and what happens when you multiply by 1. When you multiply by 0, the answer is always 0. It just always happens. So as an example of that, pick your favorite number, 25 times 0, it's 0. Any number, positive, negative, decimal, fraction, it doesn't matter. When you multiply it by 0, you get 0. But what happens when you multiply by 1? Well, you get whatever you were multiplying by. So we'll just say you get itself. So for example, if you do 25 times 1, you get 25. You get that same number. The fancy word for this is 1 is considered to be the multiplicative identity, meaning if you multiply by 1, you get itself. Keep that in mind as we're going over these examples. Actually, we're going to use these right off the bat. Let's do numbers 1 through 9 together. So it says find the product or find the answer to the multiplication question. Well, 6 times 0 is 0. I'm using that rule right off the bat. If you have something multiplied by 0, the product is always 0. Number 2, 38 times 1, I don't need to get a calculator out. I know it's going to be 38 because when you multiply by 1, you get itself. So the product there is going to be 38. Okay, let's take a look at sort of like a normal multiplication question, number 3, which says 42 times 3. So the way I usually show my students to do this is just to write these over top of each other like this. And then I'm going to take the 3 times the 2 and then times the 4. So I'm actually going to go in this order. The first thing is 3 times 2, that product is 6. And then 3 times 4, and that product is 12. So my final answer is going to be 126. Pretty simple. Let's look at another one kind of basically like that, just a little bit trickier. How about number 4 where it says 450 times 5? Okay, check out what happens on this. I'm still going to take the 5 times the 0. That'll be my first move. 5 times 0 is 0. But look what happens when I write 5 times 5. The product there is 25, and that's a 2-digit number. So I'm going to write it like this, where I carry the 2 over to the next column. So 25, I put my 5 down on the bottom and then just carried the 2. Now watch what happens now that we've carried a number over. If it's a double digit like that where you carry the number, the next time when you go over here, 5 times 4 is 20, but you have to remember to add the number that you carried over. So 5 times 4 is 20, plus the 2 that we carried over is 22. So we'll put our 22 down here. So the final answer there would be 2,250. So as you go through and do that multiplication, if it's a single digit product, just drop it down below. If it is a double digit, you have to remember to carry the other digit over and add it the next time you multiply. Let's do one that gets a little bit more complicated with number 5. We've got a 2-digit number times a 2-digit number. So far, we've just been multiplying by single-digit numbers. So here we go, 22 times 37. And just like, let's just pretend that this is 22 times 7. Just ignore that 3 for now. So 7 times 2 is 14, which is a double-digit number. So I'll carry the 1 from the 14. Then I'm going to do this 7 times this 2, which is 14, but then I'm going to add the 1 that we carried over. So that'll actually make it 15, and I'll drop that down right here. Now I have to go through the same process, but this time I've got to multiply the 3 times each one of these. And I have to remember that since I'm bumping over to a new position, I have to drop a 0 as a placeholder, just so that the final answer is going to work out correctly. So let's do the 3 times the 2, which is 6, and then 3 times the next 2 is also a 6. So we have 154, 660. How do we get a final answer? All you're going to do, add those two numbers, and you can just add straight down. 4 plus 0 is 4. 5 plus 6 is 11. I'm going to carry the 1. So I've got 1 plus 1 plus 6, which is 8. That gives me a final answer of 814. Those are a little bit more complicated because you got to remember to go down to the next line and put in a 0 as a placeholder. Let's try another one kind of similar to that. How about 92 times 36? Okay, first, let's just pay attention to that 6, and we're going to do our multiplication with it first. 6 times 2 is 12. And I'm going to write it down like this, where I carry the 1 from the 12 over to the next column. Now I've got 6 times 9, which is 54, but I want to remember to add that 1. So 54 plus 1 is 55. So I'll write down the 55 here. Okay, so far so good. As we go to the next number, you have to remember to drop a 0 as a placeholder since you're going over to the next number. So let's do that one. 3 times 2 is 6, and then 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm going to put that down like that. And then all we have to do from here to get a final answer is just add them together. So I'm going to add straight down. 2 and 0 makes 2, 5 and 6 makes 11. I'll carry the 1. 1 plus 5 plus 7 is 13. Carry a 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So I have a final answer of 3,312. Okay. Sometimes you'll see them written differently. We've been using that X symbol to denote multiplication, but you can also use a dot, like in number 7, or parentheses, like in number 8. So you would do it the exact same way. It's just trying to say that big number times 2. So I would write that out like 893,633 times 2. Okay, so we're going to multiply each one of those by 2. So here we go. So the 2 times 3 is 6, and then we're just going to keep going down. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. I'm going to carry a 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus that 1 is 7. 2 times 9 is 18. I've got to carry a 1. And 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So if I drop in my commas where they go, that gives me 1,787,266 as the product of those two numbers. Okay, finally, number 8 is 9 times 11, which hopefully you just have that memorized as a times table problem. That's actually going to get you 99. But if you wanted to set that up the way we had been with these other ones, you could do 11 times 9, where you'd go 9 times 1 is 9, and 9 times 1 is 9. You still get 99 either way. Okay, now let's use what we've learned to try to answer sort of a real-world problem using multiplication. So it says, if Netflix costs $13.99 per month, how much does it cost annually? And it wants me to show my work here. So this is a pretty classic question. It's asking annually. That means in a 12-month period, how much is Netflix going to cost us for the entire year, the entire 12 months? So basically what we want to do is we want to take $13.99 and multiply that times 12 months. Okay. So the way we're going to do this is just the same way we had been. So I'm going to do like the 2 is going to multiply through all of them first. So 2 times 9 is 18. I'm going to carry the 1. 2 times 9 is 18. Plus 1 is 19. So I'm going to carry another 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And then 2 times 1 is 2. So I'll drop that down here. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to put a placeholder in so that I can go over to the 1. We're going to do 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3. And 1 times 1 is 1. Now all I have to do is add these and I should get the final answer. 8 plus 0 is 8. 9 plus 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8 plus 9 is 17. Carry the 1. So we've got 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 more is 6. And then the 1. So if we drop our decimal point where it goes and put a $sign on it, now we know that in a 12-month period or 1 year, Netflix is going to cost you $167.88. So that was just sort of like a crash course in how to multiply whole numbers, or in this case, there was one with some decimals in it just to show you a real-world example. But hopefully this video was helpful, and if it was, consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.